Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here, back at it again with another video, this time talking about the Goosebumps TV episode for Shocker on Shock Street. Now, first off, happy Easter if you're seeing this the day it comes out. I hope this is being recorded on an Easter at least. And this video's been delayed a little bit. It was supposed to come out like a week ago, but I am a little bit lazy. But still, we're finally here talking about this episode. And boy, is it a weird one. It has a lot of interesting qualities that vary from the original book and also are similar, but add on, even especially in the ending of the episode, to the book. And I don't know how to feel about it entirely. It's a very mixed episode, but overall, I will say this. If you're looking for something very wild to watch, this is definitely it. This is a very wild episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So what is a Shocker on Shock Street all about? Well, Erin's father may or may not be a designer and maker of many masks and props for the Shocker on Shock Street movie franchise. So she and her friend Marty sneak into his workshop where he builds all these crazy fucking things. After a bit of exploring, you can obviously see that a lot of these props are references to other Goosebumps episodes and media, which is awesome. And there's some other masks that are probably just different masks that the company that actually makes the Goosebumps props for the show made or cooked up for this episode, just put on display. Either way, it's a very cool setting. They stumble upon this werewolf little mask thing, and it grabs one of them, but it's only Erin's father playing a trick on them. Erin's father comes out from behind the shelf, revealing that he's doing it, and after a bit of chit-chat about the Shocker and Shock Street movies, he eventually reveals that his tram ride that he's been working on for apparently 2 years, I believe, according to the book, is actually fucking done, and he wants them to test it. They're obviously very pumped up about it since they're very passionate about their father's work, especially Marty. He loves the Shock Street movies, and he's glad that he has a friend who is actually the daughter of a certain somebody who makes Shock Street movies, so, big a coincidence right there. They get to test this ride actually immediately, since it's, just like, I don't know, in the next room or something. And they go on the ride, they're given laser guns for whatever reason, and they're apparently gonna go into some kind of trouble. And, yeah, lots of shit happens on this ride. They encounter many scary sights, and, eventually, after a lot of just tramming around, I guess you can say, finally the ride fucking breaks down. They're obviously a little freaked out by this, and eventually they just get out of there and, start walking up the tracks, where they find bats and a creep. Yes, what we're calling all creeps creep from one of the other episodes in Goosebumps. They shoot off the laser gun. Keep this in mind because there's a fucking may or may not be a plot hole later. And eventually they find their way out of this tram ride into the actual Shock Street, which is pretty awesome looking, but of course it's obviously just a rented out park for the episode, but still cool nonetheless, I guess. After a lot of exploring, they finally decide to go into this, I think, comedy booth or theater or something. For some reason, it has the word comedy on it. I have no fucking clue what it is, but there's an elevator in there, and they take it up for some reason. And they come into some sort of boiler works looking area. Marty gets electrocuted by this monster. They continue along, and they keep exploring the place. Hopefully, they're gonna find their father. That's what they're hoping. Erin's father will just magically appear. And no, instead they encounter the piranha person, who I believe was foreshadowed earlier on a poster. Pretty awesome. I think it looks pretty good, but still, this motherfucker is not playing. He ain't no fucking prop, and he gives chase on him. They do get away, but just barely. The piranha person may or may not end up headless, so I guess there's that. Once they get in the elevator, we finally get to see where the fuck Erin's father is, and he's looking at him through a camera. And he's surrounded by identical fucking looking women. They all are wearing the same yellow shirt, they have the same haircut, same hairstyle, same glasses, same just body structure. They look pretty much fucking identical. And I have a fear that they're fucking robots or something, which is honestly a given. Erin's father leaves, presumably to go get them, and once these guys get out of the building, they immediately see him outside, hiding, trying to spy on him. And, he doesn't do a good job at spying on him, to say the least. He fucking sucks at it. And when they come to get him, he shuts Marty down. Yeah, Marty just fucking shuts the fuck down. Yeah, this is the... this makes way for a very interesting reveal that these motherfuckers may not be robots, because he also shuts Erin down. And, yeah, it's kind of fucking interesting, but I like it a lot more in the book. I'll say that. Oh my god, it's so fucking weird. They take the robots, who are now lifeless looking, into the building, he immediately gets to work on building duplicate robots that look pretty much identical to these motherfuckers. And, while he's doing that, these motherfuckers may or may not come to life and presumably kill their father. Well, kill Aaron's father. I'm sorry if I've been mispronouncing that. But either way, they apparently kill their father. I mean, yes, it technically is their father anyway. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. We actually might have a kill count in this Goosebumps show, so that's interesting. Well, without further ado, let's get to the actual review segment, starting off with my upsides and downsides. So for my upsides, I'm going to be very brief on these first couple of things. This episode is very fun. I feel like there's a lot going for it, especially in the first half, and it's just a very fun ride with a lot of stuff going on. And also, the setting is very awesome. I think the setting looks really cool with all these masks and props lying around, and also the tram ride is really fucking cool. Now, for my other upsides, I think the characters were pretty darn good. I really like the father character, especially since he's actually both their fathers, even though Aaron is the only actual child here of this father, apparently, by the robot lore, I guess, but still, he actually created them both. Kind of a weird thing, but still, really like these characters. They're pretty interesting. And also these little side villains we encounter with all these weird monsters coming to life and shit. Pretty darn cool. The plot was very interesting. I think the book's plot is a lot more better and less all over the place, it feels, and actually more like directional, because that might be a downside. This fucking episode feels like it's no direction or anything. And fuck it, we'll just transition to downsides, because there's not a lot of upsides besides the fact that it's fun, it looks great, it has great props and stuff, and the fact that the character's pretty good. Oh, and the ending, I guess, is also pretty cool, but it's better done in the book. But I think the add-on at the end is pretty cool, where their father might die. But still, downsides, like I said, this episode is not very directional. It feels like it's going somewhere, kind of, but also feels like it's going nowhere at the same time, with Marty just aimlessly running around like, oh my god, that's from the Shock Street movies, holy shit, what's going here? Holy shit, that's a Shock Street thing! Oh, monster. It's very undirectional, it's not even fun, sort of, in the second half like it was in the book, I feel, and I don't think it's extremely fair to completely compare it to the book, but then again, it is literally trying to be the exact same story here, and it doesn't do a great job, but it does what it can. I also have to mention this, Aaron's acting is fucking awful. Now, I don't mean to be rude, and I don't want to shit on this actress here, but Aaron, your voice is just so out of place in this episode. Her acting just feels so like, yeah, like you're reading off a fucking script that's behind the camera. It just feels so weird, like, what the fuck? I don't know what it is. I don't like being rude to these actors, but goddamn, there's something off about her acting. It was really hard to get into. And this episode was a little too weird for my liking, and also just kind of adds into the directionless point of the episode, where it feels like it's going somewhere and nowhere at the same time. The fish person scene was just filler, and the ending was kind of dragged on and really heavily dragged on compared to the episode, or I mean, sorry, the book, where it's just kind of, oh yeah, they're robots, big deal. This episode, it fucking drags it out, and I don't think it's very good, the way they do it. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. And also, the laser gun has an actual plot hole where it just fucking magically breaks down. Because it was working earlier, and then Marty's like, oh, it doesn't work. It does work. It worked literally like 4 minutes ago. Fucking idiot. So, for my rating of this episode, I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10. It was very entertaining in the first half, and the acting was okay besides Aaron. Horrible. I'm sorry. Everything was very interesting. The setting was really cool. The episode just felt directionless at times, and it's just a very mixed bag overall. On the fright meter, I'm going to give this like a 2.5. There was lots of scary moments, but none of them really hit me. But there is some interesting stuff in here. I really liked the piranha scene. I thought that was scary, and it scared the shit out of me when I was a child. Still, not the scariest episode for sure. And I'd give this, I don't fucking know. I don't think I would give this a Shrunky approved. But personally, I would say, yeah, this is a fun episode in the first half, but in the second half, yeah, no. First half would be Shrunky approved, second half, nah. But overall, not Shrunky approved. And that's going to conclude this episode review. Tell me what you think of this episode below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? And next episode review is going to be You Can't Scare Me, so stay tuned for that. We all know it's going to be probably a pile of shit, but we'll see what I think upon rewatch. And anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.